Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. So during 30 minutes, we're going to talk about email marketing. You know that email marketing remains one of the major digital channels for brands to generate. Thank you. To generate business with a good return on investment, but also to have and to maintain a close relationship with their customers and potential clients. When we talk about email marketing, we usually talk about data, about segmentation, and about deliverability. But you need to consider three other key points if you want to be efficient in your email strategy. The first one is about production and productivity. With an increasing volume of emails to produce, the question is actually, how can I make sure to produce all the emails I need in a quick and cost-effective way? The second question is about quality. How can I make sure that my email will be well displayed, whatever the device is, whatever the screen size is, whatever the webmail, the app, and so on. And the third one is about innovation. How can I avoid sending boring emails to my customers? How can I put more impact in my communication? This is, we answer to these questions thanks to our email builder, Dartagnan. And today we are happy to share with you the example of Tag Heuer, and we will see how Dartagnan helps Tag Heuer on a daily basis to improve their processes and to boost their performances. So nice to meet you. I'm Nicolas, Guillen. I'm Managing Director for JustRelate France. And today on the stage, I am with Philipp.
Yes, a warm welcome for me too. I'm a senior consultant at JustRelate when it comes to complex web solutions. And next to me is Etienne.
Well, nice to meet you all. I'm Etienne Bateau. I'm CRM Director at Tag Heuer for a little bit more than 2 years now. So before we start into the real topic, a bit of context about Tag Heuer, if you don't know. We've been around for now more than 160 years, about watchmaking, of course. We are operating worldwide with more than 2,000 points of sale all over the world. And we've been part, of course, of the LVMH group for more than 25 years now. What sets Tag Heuer apart from the competition in the world of watchmaking? Of course, this long history about this watchmaking expertise. We are leaders. We know how to produce high-quality watches. We're focused on, high performance with chronograph being at the heart of what we do. And it's been only highlighted recently with our partnership with Formula One. And we are now official timekeepers for Formula One. And then, of course, we have these iconic designs. You can see on the screen this vintage Tag Heuer Formula One. We have the Monaco, the square chronograph that almost everybody knows. So this is really what we do. And of course, we are in that highly competitive sports luxury watch segment. About email communication, more precisely, we have two main objectives for our key markets, the US, the UK, Australia among them. The first thing that we want to do is really to empower the teams locally for them to be able to really match local communications with local activities. And this is super important for us. And the second point, and maybe even more important, is for us to be able to have this consistency all over the channels, being social media, print, out of home, and of course, email communications, and to have this consistency for our brand image, whatever the channel. And now I will leave the floor to Philipp.
Thank you, Etienne. Now let's dive into the topic straight away. Let's talk about Dartagnan, about our email builder. So when we talk about email, we always differentiate into very important parts, and one is the design capability. Email design is not easy, and email design, especially templating design, can be very challenging and take a long time. And this is what Dartagnan solves. It's the world market leader in stunning email templating design. And today we're going to show you, with the example of Heuer, how we can do exactly that. But before I continue, I just want to give you a quick orientation of what Dartagnan is, and because it's quite new in the German market, give you an orientation where it belongs to. So Dartagnan is one of our daughter companies of the JustRelate group, and the JustRelate group is based in Berlin, and we have offices in Wrocław, in Munich, Paris, and Lille. And our key focus is basically enabling people, marketeers, and so on. So helping the people doing their daily business without being dependent on third parties such as agencies or developers. So if you want to create an email campaign, you should be able to do that by yourself without being dependent on someone else in a very short time. So it all comes down to that. Our expertise lie in the area of a cloud offering. We call it the so-called CX cloud. And we are focused on basically the first point of contact until the last point of contact, and offer solutions in any important area. So I'm talking about customer relationship management, content management, platform building, as well as automation, configuration, and design. Within these areas, we have solutions. So today we're talking about Dartagnan, as well as our content management system at enterprise level, Scritto. We do have automation capabilities with NeoLetter, so anything operational when it comes to email design, we serve with NeoLetter. We have a CRM functionality within this area called PISA Sales, as well as configuration capabilities with NeoCPQ. But now let's come straight down to the topic. I don't want to bore you with this anymore. If you want to know more about our offering, please be free to visit us at our booth. We will show the booth later. Etienne, thank you very much.
Thank you. So how did we start working with Dartagnan a couple years ago? If you work with email, you know your managers maybe have this fantasy world they want to live in, where we want to produce more emails all the time. Of course, it needs to be easy. You don't want to spend more money on it. You don't want to have more resources to do it. It needs to fit in your workflow, and you don't want to change anything in the way you usually work. And on top of that, of course, you want it to be perfect, to really have the nicest brand image possible. But this is a fantasy world. And when we were at Heuer 2 years ago, we had these constraints that you must have today, where you have an email builder, maybe with your email sending tools, which has limited capabilities. It's not user-friendly. You need to know how to code to use it. You don't know how to deploy it at scale. It's super complicated. And due to that complexity in the end, you need to outsource everything because you don't have the skills internally. So you work with an agency to deliver each and every email, from a full email template to maybe one small text change, design change, image change. You need to go through the agency each and every time. And at Heuer specifically, the issue that we were facing, that to handle the whole campaign management process, we only have one single person to handle everything. So this added on the already mentioned complexity.
Yes, so that's why we're starting to talk with Heuer, because remember at the beginning I was talking about production and productivity. So the first goal was to give the hand back to the Heuer's team to be more autonomous, to be more agile, and to be able to increase the productivity. Actually to be able to produce a large volume of emails. So increasing the capacity of production was really the first target. But not only, of course. Once the team was, let's say, onboarded on the tool, the goal was to push the lines in terms of design, in terms of innovation and interactivity within within the email. The goal, actually, the final goal is to propose the best customer experience to customers, the Target customers, because the best your customer experience is, the more business and you will do, and of course, the most your brand image will be good. So yeah, first step, which is now done, bringing back the email production in Stagger's team with 3 key time-saving, cost-saving, of course, and production improvement. So this is still in progress, but almost finished.
It's even already done. We have now this design system also in place for our whole email production to be, again, have our brand consistency across the channels, to be able to innovate all the time on our email capabilities, and of course, to be able to industrialize production.
So now if we focus on the first step, so bringing email production back to the teams, so the question is how we can re-internalize your email production to optimize the processes.
So, of course, same as many brands do, we have many different kinds of emails for many different kinds of purposes. You have a few examples here. If we go into the details, we have these key product launches, maybe once every quarter. It needs to be fancy, it needs to be immersive, it really needs to drive the client to the website ultimately, and it needs to be different from, let's say, the regular communications. We have some smaller product launches, communications, once or twice a month, depending on the calendar. Still needs to be able to give some details about the products. We have our regular seasonal communications, summer email, holiday season, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, you name it. Occasional communication. This example is for the London Marathon, but more recently with the Formula One partnership, we had a dedicated email fully designed from scratch to celebrate this partnership. And obviously, last but not least, all our local campaigns, where in this case, it's really about highlighting local events. Should it be a boutique opening or closing, a pop-up store for a dedicated city, or any kind of local dedicated limited edition that we want to highlight. So all in all, you had everything. You have this worldwide communication, you have these local communications, different frequency. In the end, it's 15 to 25 emails per month to be handled in 12 different languages all over the world, again, to be managed by one single person.
Yeah, what we have here on the screen is a typical scheme of a process before using the email builder Dartagnan. As you can see, on average, actually, to build one email, before using Dartagnan, the average time to build one email is between 3 days and sometimes 1 month, due to long and tedious processes, actually. You all experience all the back and forth that you have to, let's say, to support before having the email ready to be sent.
Yeah, and the consequence basically is that you have a couple of challenges. So the lack of autonomy, as I said before, we want to enable people and brand to bring the production back into the house. So that means you're not dependent, or you're dependent in this case on someone else in order to start your campaign. You have a lack of responsiveness. If your sales department decides today to start a new campaign, to do something new, you have to start again to talk to an agency, to someone else. So you're not able to deliver on time in a very short period of time. Obviously, that results in a low productivity. And obviously, all these iterations you've just seen on the slide before, they cost a lot of money. And to solve that, we came up with a solution and streamlined this in a very simple, very clear process, and enabled Heuer to do exactly that.
Yeah. These results all for real. I want to highlight that. Really, with using Dartagnan the year we deployed it, we were able to increase our campaign production by 75%. And I mean going from 100 emails on 1 year to 175 emails in a single year. At the same time, getting rid of the agencies that we were working with for every single change, every single email that we were sending, and just working with Dartagnan, we were able to divide our cost by 4. So this is extremely impressive, and this is some budget that I can use for something else.
So once the first step is done, now the second step, and the goal, of course, during the first step, you always have a change management, and this is normal, no? Actually, but once it's done, then we can go further, and the goal is to deploy the full email design system into Dartagnan. And the goal, of course, is to be able to accelerate once again in the performances. And another point really important is to make sure that you have a good brand consistency, specifically if you want to delegate or to delegate to the local markets the production of the emails.
Yeah, you've just seen the amount of emails and Heuer sends out with one person. So once applied, you have your design system in place, you can then scale up your effectiveness, your performance up to 10 times. So you can send out 10 times as much as you used to be able to before. So.
Yeah, and from the design system, then I like this image because Dartagnan, actually, you can keep this image in mind, actually, because this is like a Lego game. So the goal within Dartagnan is to have what we call a boilerplate. A boilerplate is composed between maybe 15, 20, 30 blocks. And with those 20 to 30 blocks, then you will be able to produce unlimited emails. So this is the way you're going to be able to increase the volume of the emails. Here we have some, just to show you some example of blocks, okay? Here we have a product grid, and yeah, actually you can design as many blocks you need, but once again, between 20 and 30 blocks will be sufficient, enough to design hundreds and hundreds of emails. Here we have an example, because once your blocks are ready in the tool, then you will just have to pick up the block you need. Most of the time, one email is made of 5 blocks. You have your header, your footer, and then you have your hero, maybe a video or a slider, for instance, and then it's done. So you pick up the modules, you drag and drop them, and then you can edit each part of the modules so that you can change the text and you can change the media very easily and quickly. The goal is that in 30 minutes or maybe 1 hour, your email is ready, and then you just have to click and you generate the HTML code that you will copy and paste in your marketing tool to send the campaign. This is a real key point. Why? Because remember at the beginning I was talking about the importance that why your email need to be well displayed. You know that when you send one email from your marketing tool, you have 12,000 possible configurations in reception. Why? Because we do not have the same iPhone. We do not have the same screen sizes. We do not read the message with the same app, with the same webmail, and so on. So the goal is really to make sure that whatever the environment your message will be read, it will be well displayed. And this is the way we have a specific feature, and this is, let's say, a real added value in Dartagnan, is that you can customize, actually, your message according to the device, okay? Without having any impact on your desktop or mobile version. Okay, so at the end, you will have just one HTML, and this HTML will be full responsive.
So when we talk about responsiveness, it's not about scaling the size of the email down, but it's the ability to change everything pixel perfect. So your email can look different from the desktop version than on the mobile version, completely different, or can show and cannot show things you want to be displayed, as well as the ability to make things clickable, easier buttons, as you will see at the next slide.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is a good example. Once again, this is a specific feature we call the background feature. And there are two advantages with this kind of feature. The first one is that the background feature means that you can superpose some elements on an image, okay? Most of the time, this kind of element is a full image. And if you need to change something just before sending your email, what's happening? You need to call someone to say, hey, can you change the image? Okay, back and forth. Then I come back in the process, and so on and so on. Here, you can edit each part of this element so that you can change by yourself in a few seconds the text or the button, for instance, if you want to change the button. And the second advantage is that I work on my desktop version, and then I go to the mobile version and I say, okay, this media is not adapted for the mobile. I can change the media on the mobile version without changing on the desktop version. So this is really powerful in terms of design to, once again, to propose the best customer experience to your clients. So, as a sum up, of course, the first benefits is about production. Production, once again, 15, 20 modules, and you have unlimited emails to compose. So this is really costly effective as well. And the second thing is about processes. Actually, the final goal is to spend your energy and your time on strategy instead of production. And this is really the philosophy of Dartagnan. And last but not least, this is about brand consistency, but also how can I push the lines in terms of innovation. Interesting to send a video that will be directly read in your email. Interesting to show my products with a carousel, for instance. So this is things we can do in email now, and the goal is to break the silo you may have today between your email and your website. We can do these kind of things now in email marketing. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Now, that was really intriguing, and a lot of how you can set it up and a lot about the tool. I mean, your brand is a lot about heritage and storytelling. How do you leverage this from your point of perspective, putting that into the newsletters? Because, I mean, that's very, very important for you and your brand and your customer, so that it's not just a conversational letter or just purchased based. I can imagine that there are a lot of stories into it. Thank you.
So thank you for your question. So the best way I can showcase the usage of Dartagnan in that context is that our deal marketing team has just delivered a new graphic design that should be used everywhere. But of course, they didn't think about email when delivering this new brand template. But now with Dartagnan and with our UX designer, we're able to replicate those changes super easily. So now the button is not black, it's white, whatever. And we could do that really in a few clicks, changing some design, adding some little cues here and there. And now we have a fully new email with compliant with this new graphic template. So it really helps us to be quick in delivering new ways of communication, new design formats super easily. Thank you.
Thank you. 2 was over there. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the presentation, and I really like Dartagnan's idea. It's super cool, and I wanted to understand that while you make these templates, are these generalized and created by a set of designers ready for different brands, or is it generated with AI or another tool?
No, it's fully done in-house. So we have now a UX designer internally who helps us build the templates in Dartagnan, but she really creates the templates. So these blocks that Nicolas was mentioning earlier, then that resource in my team is playing with these blocks all the time to create different templates and to be able to create new stories each and every time.
Okay, that makes sense, because I wanted to understand how do you hyper personalize these emails, because emails require that thing.
Well,
so.
we are not yet at hyper personalization at Heuer, but still there are some features in Dartagnan where you can leverage the code that you will use to personalize in your email sending tool already in Dartagnan that will be automatically interpreted by your email tool.
Yeah,
so
we
you can use these personalization features.
Yeah, exactly. So we have the capability of respecting any personalization tool you might want to use, the automation tool, and use the placeholders within the template. So the tool will then later recognize these spaces and fill in the personalization for you.
Thanks for the presentation. I've got a question because I've been using Klaviyo, and I want to see your perspective, like which features do you have that other like page builder tools that email senders have, Dartagnan does have, because the flexible design is like, in my understanding, like the minimum I expect from an email sending tool.
Right. Shall I? Yeah. Well, we can continue the conversation later because the answer is longer than that, because Dartagnan offers much more than, for example, a Brevo, a Salesforce, or any Klaviyo, for example, in terms of design. There's a technical component to it, as well as there is design capabilities in terms of the true breakpoint capability, as well as the capability to define fallbacks. So we were talking about for example, innovative features like shop-in-shop experiences within the email, like animations, animated GIFs, and so on. On the other hand, you might have not an iPhone 15 or whatever, it might have an old system with Outlook or anything. And an issue always, or quite often, is that emails don't get displayed well on older systems as well. Outlook is an issue with email templating. So Dartagnan respects this and has fallback options, and you can check within the designer whether your email is going to display it in the right way, as well as you can share mirror links or live previews with your team in order to really be live able to create these emails and make sure that they get delivered in the highest, best possible way. One last technical issue is that email code gets old very quickly. So you have HTML and you have VML. These are the two main issues you need to consider. And they get updated every 1 or 2 weeks. If you have an email template and you've been using it for some time, the quality of deliverability decreases over time. So you always need to use new code in order to have the highest possible deliverability. And this means Dartagnan solves this for you. The code is always on new. And one last example of that, one of our key customers is the airport Nuremberg. And they have, when they started with Dartagnan, they took their old templates and they've adapted it, took the same design, sent it out with Dartagnan to the same target audience, the same size of target audience, and received a 35% increase in opening rate just because of the technical components with Dartagnan. If you want to know more, please visit us at our booth.
Referring to the hyper-personalization, do you have your, just for instance, with Salesforce, not just that you're working with Salesforce, but you can have your information and what was bought and so on and so forth. So the question would be, do you just get the tags and just use the name, or can you use the tags and say, this is the content we wanted to display? Is that possible with Dartagnan? So that you have really hyper-personalized. So this guy bought this, so we show him other stories, other products. Later, I know that you're not there right now.
So yeah.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's quite difficult to understand you because the sound always goes out. If I understood correctly, we have two ways of personalizing content. One is with placeholders in respect to the automation system you use, and the other one is variables. So you can, then configure different content blocks in a way that if someone has a certain tag or something, show this, if not, show that. So yes, it's possible.